again tonight. Shabbat Shalom. It's good to be with all of you this evening. As we enter the final day of Passover, we'll have an opportunity for some special readings, for some festival melodies, as we celebrate and bring in Shabbat together. We're on page 140. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. On this the day of days, my lips shall sing your praise, for I know that you'll always be here surrounding me. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. I wish to understand the wonders of your hand, for all the blessings that are mine rise from your design. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. We remember on this day our crossing of the sea so long ago, when Miriam, Moses, and all the Israelites sang this song to God. Adonai is my strength and song, who has become my deliverance. This is my God, whom I will enshrine. So too do we sing out in praise on this day of our redemption. So we'll take a moment now to turn to the people around you and greet each other, maybe meeting somebody who you did not come in with. We will continue with Lecha Dodi on page 138. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat פני שבת נקבלה, שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please rise for the final verse. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. You may be seated. We will now turn to light our Sabbath and festival candles. So we actually will turn to page 384, and I would like to invite forward Pam Herman and Chaim Costello. Pam has been our interim executive director, and Chaim is our new executive director. So to honor their leadership, we'll invite them forward to bring some light into our space. So before the blessing, Shalom Aleichem can be found on page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom,
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov and Shabbat, shel Yom Tov.
May these festival lights open our eyes to the joys in life, beauty that delights the eye, freedom to be ourselves, the knowledge of Torah that shapes our moral being, the heritage of celebration that unites us as a people. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, for giving us life, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this season.
Shabbat shalom.
Barchuni l'shalom, malachei ha-shalom, malachei elyon. Mi-melech, malachei ha-melachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Seitchem l'shalom, malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech, let us bless. I invite you to rise for Baruch Hu on page 146. Yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Seated. Our prayer for evening. And time reverses its course, today flowing back into yesterday, like a river enclosed at its mouth. Each of us has been a slave in Egypt, soaked straw and clay with sweat, and crossed the sea dry-footed. You too, stranger, this year in fear and shame, next year in virtue and justice. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Continue on page 150. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. We continue with Ve'ahavta on page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם emet. So in just a moment, we'll get to hear a little medley of some Passover tunes, brilliantly put together by one of my colleagues, Cantor Gabe Snyder. But first, a reading from our festival service. Then Miriam the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women came out after her and danced with timbrels. And Miriam chanted for them, "Sing to Adonai, for God has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver God hurled into the sea." את עצמו כאילו יצא ממצרים את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים, יצא ממצרים. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ובניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. We turn to page 160. Our prayer for shelter. As now the story of our people enters the wilderness and the unknown, we think of the needs for protection for all of us and for those that we know in the world. And we share in this prayer, Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu L'chaim לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, לחיים. I am now pleased to invite forward our bar mitzvah student. Representing all the B'nai Mitzvah students, our trooper who gets extra bar mitzvah points for being here during spring break. And we will turn to page 162 for Vishamru. For everyone's sake, give me just a moment. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'rit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'rit olam. B'ni לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. I invite you to rise as we turn to our tefillah on page 164. And today is the day when we get to page 168, we finally get to switch to our summer text.
Yay for summer.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el hagadol hagibor ve'hanora el elyon, gomel chasadim tovim ve'koneh hakol, ve'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mevii gula livnei v'neihem lema'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol, Ata Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יחללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Turn to silent prayer, standing or seated as is your custom, through page 180. Out of a narrow place I called to you, Adonai. God answered me and brought me relief. Psalm 118. Min hametzar karatia anani v'merchavia. Min hametzar karatia anani v'merchavia. Yaseli Adam min hametzar karatia anani v'merchavia. Min hametzar karatia anani v'merchavia. Yaseli Adam. From that place of narrowness, we turn to our prayer for healing on page 371 and hold close those in our lives who are in need of a little extra strength this Shabbat, who might be caught in a narrow place and are in need of relief, freedom, expanse. This is a good moment to think of those people, to hold their names in your hearts, and maybe when you leave here tonight, to reach out to them, to check on them, see what they need, see how they're doing. Mi shebeirach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. I hope you've all had a meaningful Passover. I enjoyed time with friends and community, and many of you on Sunday evening at our second night Seder. There we participated in the ritual of counting the Omer. Our Jewish tradition recognizes the need to ground ourselves in the calendar as the seasons change, as we just heard in the change in our liturgy. The counting of the Omer is a daily practice recognizing the 7 weeks between the Exodus from Egypt and the revelation at Sinai. It has its roots in the agricultural calendar and represents the journey from the barley harvest at Passover to the first wheat harvest at Shavuot. Each evening, those who participate in this practice say a blessing, state which day it is in the count, and add additional texts or readings according to their custom. The mitzvah of counting the Omer is stated in Leviticus and has connections to Kabbalah, to Jewish mysticism. Since the biblical agricultural calendar is not directly relevant to most of our daily lives, we often find those mystical elements of the Omer a little bit more accessible, more of a point of entry to the practice. A wealth of resources are available to count the Omer with daily prompts for journaling, meditation, blogging, apps, all sorts of things. Through the principles of Kabbalah, each week is assigned a different value or characteristic, and each day within that week has its own sub-theme. Imagine a 7x7 grid, 7 days of the week for 7 weeks, all sorts of colors and interconnecting circles, and it's there's some creativity with it for sure. So by doing this, each day provides a little bit of a different focus for somebody's guided journey. These daily kavanot, or intentions, allow for an in-depth experience of mindfulness and reflection. How might one find these themes in their daily lives, explore their relationship, and imbue them with meaning? By setting aside time each day for these 7 weeks to reflect through counting the Omer, the project is broken down into smaller and more manageable pieces. Rather than focus on the larger process of counting, it's possible to zoom in on one small piece at a time. This method gives a different kind of significance to the tradition. I have always been fascinated by the Omer and this framework for observing a prescribed time on the calendar. I didn't grow up observing these customs. I would imagine many of us didn't. If you did, I'd love to hear about it. The agricultural, the spiritual, the historical, those weren't a connection for me to the Omer until I started to learn a little bit more about it. So I've explored some of these different avenues to experiencing the counting of the Omer. I've engaged with the Institute for Jewish Spirituality, who offers classes and resources on topics related to the Omer. For the past few years, I've also spent these weeks in a Chavruta study, meeting weekly with a classmate and friend of mine from HUC. And each year we choose a book, moving through it throughout the 7 weeks, chapter by chapter, together. We've studied Pirkei Avot, the traditional text for this series of weeks, The Amen Effect, an inspiring book by Rabbi Sharon Brous, and this year we've chosen The Jewish Way to a Good Life, a new book by Rabbi Shira Stutman. I'm excited to dig into the study, conversation, and reflection, and I invite you to try any kind of Omer practice this year. Although there is much to be celebrated during our holidays of Passover and Shavuot that bookend the counting of the Omer, this in-between time is a little more liminal and somber. There are certain prohibitions on rejoicing and focusing on physical appearance, which overlap with a lot of mourning practices. Yet, as in times of mourning, a repetitive practice can bring purpose to one's days. When something is uncertain or even inconceivable, it is often best to focus on just one piece of information. Next week, we will observe Yom HaShoah as a community, Wednesday evening in the sanctuary. Yom HaShoah is the Jewish day of memorial for those who perished in the Holocaust and is observed widely in the week after the conclusion of Passover. While sometimes it is necessary to recognize the massive number of people who were killed, individual stories can help us process the enormity of this piece of our Jewish history. In a recent piece for the New York Times Magazine, author Taffy Brodesser-Akner shares the story of her friend's father, entitled, "This is the Holocaust Story I Said I Wouldn't Write." Growing up in Brooklyn, first-hand accounts of the Holocaust were baked into her daily life, her Jewish education, and her worldview. She experienced an oversaturation of these stories, often at the expense of other knowledge she wished she could have in math or science or history. Yet after a few decades, she comes back to it and reflects on the importance of Holocaust education. She says, "The gold standard has always been, of course, the personal lived experience testimony from the mouth of a Holocaust survivor directly to an attentive listener, mostly in an auditorium of students or to visitors of a Holocaust museum. There are still roughly 220,000 survivors, and their median age is 87, according to the Claims Conference, the nonprofit organization that negotiates and distributes funds to Holocaust survivors and the social service agencies that provide for them worldwide. Of the surviving survivors, the largest population live in Israel. There are only approximately 35,000 remaining in the United States, and fewer than 15,000 in New York. All of a sudden, the post-survivor era is upon us. So, what now, she asks. What is the obligation of the people who came after, those who survive the survivors, who carry the story, who carry the residual trauma and haunted memories of their families? As survivors dwindle, it's left to us to process what happened, what the legacy of the Holocaust should be, or grapple with what it is. To me, the most compelling piece of Brodesser Akner's essay was a reflection on the relative nearness of the Holocaust in our collective memory. This really blew my mind. So she shares, I was born in 1975 into a world where the people affected by the Holocaust seemed very old to me, and the war seemed very long ago. But now I'm almost 50, and I realize that I am just about as old as my grandparents were when I was born, and that the period between my birth and the Holocaust is roughly the same as between now and the Challenger explosion. I'm not an old lady, and the Challenger tragedy still seems awfully recent to me. What it must have been like to try to explain all these things to children who simply had lucked out by being born when they were born. How I should have understood that I was hearing very recent history. How I should have understood that a lifetime ago, a lifetime is not actually a very long period of time. So how do we engage with the Holocaust or any monumental piece of history, keeping alive the memories of the individuals without resorting to generalizations or cliches? For me, I go back to this idea. Holding one fact or one piece of information at a time. One name, one story, one day. Counting each day of the Omer, being present in today, so that I can recognize the challenges and the gifts of this very moment. I hope you'll join me on Wednesday evening for a ceremony of remembrance, music, and reflection. Shabbat Shalom. So now I invite you to join me as we turn to the counting of the Omer. It can be found on page 570. And before we actually do the counting, I share a melody that comes from Yosef Goldman, Zach Fredman, and Shir Yaakov Feit. Yosef Goldman teaches about this melody. The words of this song are taken from the liturgy recited before fulfilling the mitzvah of counting the Omer. They include the blessing and a version of a preliminary declaration of intention, the L'Shem Yichud, common among Sfardim and Hasidim. The Kabbalistic formula is meant to focus and express one's intention to serve God by increasing divine presence in the world through our actions, unifying the earthly and heavenly manifestation of God, the material and the physical. L'Shem Yichud Shabrichu ushchintei, hineni muchan umezuman, lekayem mitzvat aseh, shel sfirat haomer, shel sfirat haomer, shel sfirat haomer, shel sfirat haomer, sheva Shabbatot timimot tiena, sheva Shabbatot timimot tiena. Now we turn to the blessing, to that same melody. Sheva Shabbatot timimot tiena, sheva Shabbatot timimot tiena. Now we turn to the blessing, to that same melody. Now we turn to the blessing, to that same melody. To that same melody. Now we turn to the blessing, to that same melody. 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 Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer, al sfirat ha'omer, al sfirat ha'omer, al sfirat ha'omer. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Hayom Shisha Yamim LaOmer. Today is the 6th day of the Omer. I would now like to invite forward Lisa Brodkey to bring us some greetings and announcements.
Thank you, Cantor. So I am not the president of the congregation. I am not the incoming president of the congregation. I am not an immediate past president of the congregation. I'm a member of the board of trustees, drafted into service tonight. So, of course, so Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And happy almost end of Passover. It's almost time for bread. I'm so excited. So a few Shabbat-related things. We do have an oneg tonight after the service out there. And tomorrow morning, Torah study, I think in person and on Zoom, 9:30 with Laura Rosenthal. And then at 10:30 in the chapel will be the Kavanah Shabbat service led by Rabbi Denny Deutsch-Marshall and the Kavanah Shabbat team. It's a great service. If you've never been, it's really a nice Shabbat service. As Cantor said, next Wednesday night, the 23rd, B'nai Israel will be hosting the community-wide Yom HaShoah commemoration, the Holocaust Remembrance Day commemoration. It's, as she said, it's a really meaningful service, candlelight procession, lots of music, our own choir, supplemented by lots of singers from elsewhere in Sacramento, from other congregations. I believe that we are being asked to RSVP if we're planning to come, just so that people can plan appropriately, and there's a link on the temple website, on the CBI website to do that. Lots of things going on in April. These are all actually on the back of your program for tonight, so I'm just going to speed through the important pieces of them. On Sunday the 27th, this one I have a vested interest in because I'm on the Adult Ed and the Racial Justice Committee that put this program together. We have the author of the book that some of us have been reading for a while now, The Cost of Free Land, Jews, Lakota, and an American Inheritance. The author, Rebecca Claren, is going to be joining us via Zoom at 10:30 on Sunday, April 27th in the morning. It should be a really interesting conversation with her, even if you haven't finished the book, even if you haven't started the book. It's a really interesting look at a piece of our Jewish history and our American history that a lot of us are not so familiar with. So I really encourage you to come for that. There are tickets available that I believe, are they free or do they cost? Do we know? Tickets for Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, do they cost? There's a fee, but there are tickets available for Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. It's a joint moment. The Israeli Memorial Day and Israeli Independence Day always are together, solemn remembrance and then joyous celebration. That's a Federation event. Again, going to be held here at CBI. That's on the following Wednesday the 30th at 5 o'clock. So there's food, there's games, there's fun things to do. And Coming up in May, early May, there will be a service of gratitude here at B'nai Israel to say thank you to folks who have volunteered at CBI, folks who have made financial contributions. It's a way of saying thank you as sort of part of our reflecting on blessings during Passover and what has happened in the past year. So please come on Friday, May 2nd, 7:30 here. One last reminder, two last reminders, and I'll make them quick. You may know that our library, the Sosnick Library, is collecting books to donate to the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. All the buildings on their campus burned during the Eaton Canyon fire. We have a little experience with having our library burn and our temple, parts of our temple burn. People were incredibly generous worldwide to us by donating books so we could reorganize and reopen our library. So we're being asked to contribute books, gently used or new books that they might really want to have. So take a look. There is information about how to donate in the Hadashot, and donations are going to be accepted in the library until the last Wednesday in April, Wednesday, April 30th. And last but not least, we have the opportunity to vote in an incredibly important Jewish-focused election. The World Zionist Congress, which meets every 5 years in Israel, is an amazing conglomeration of Jews from all over the place. It's a chance for diaspora Jews, those of us outside of Israel, to have a voice in big decisions that are going to be made in Israel over the next 5 years concerning distribution of funds. How many funds, you might ask? $5 billion with a B dollars. So it's a chance for those of us with Reform Jewish values to make sure that those values are represented in that decision making. There is a vote reform slate that you'll see on the ballot. Our own Rabbi Alfie is on that slate. And it's a really important thing to do. So if you haven't voted yet, please go online. Again, there's a link on our temple website. You can register to vote, costs big $5. Anybody who identifies as Jewish, who has $5 and is living in the U.S., is that right? Yeah, not living outside the U.S., is eligible to vote, over 18 and over. So please take 2 minutes and cast your vote for Vote Reform, that slate. And I think that's it. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for doing services all on your lonesome. I felt bad for you up here all by your lonesome.
It's my pleasure.
Okay,
and I have
good.
all of you with
Well,
me.
good. Okay.
Thank you.
I hope I'm not taking any of your things. I don't think I am.
You're good. Thank you. I'd like to invite to stand anybody who is a member of the board, a past president, a staff member, and we're not going to run around tonight, but if you are new, these are particularly great people to talk to, and committee chairs. You are included as well. So if anybody is new tonight, please introduce yourselves to one of the people who are standing or anyone here. We are all friendly. All right, thank you. I would like to invite forward our B'nai Mitzvah students to help us lead Aleinu on the bottom of page 586. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gidula le'otzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kimishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vigor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרה בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. May be seated. We turn now to memory. Yesh kochavim she'oram magia arza. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This Shabbat, we are mourning the loss of Lois Landau Berman, beloved mother of Susan Berman Liebenhout, mother-in-law of Mark Liebenhout, and grandmother of Jeff and Andrea Liebenhout. We also, with sadness, announce the passing of Lauren Taylor, beloved husband of Ellen Taylor, father of Saren and Rafe Taylor, father-in-law of Sarah Soto Taylor and Constance Taylor, and grandfather of Jaden, Hudson, Alejandra, and Sonia Taylor. We also mourn the loss of Jean Ismail, beloved mother of Mona Ismail. In addition to recent passings, we think of those who passed at this time in years past, this season on our calendar. We think this Shabbat of Julius Abrams, Gordon Edelman, Mort Bierman, Philip Bloom, Sam I. Bon, Don Britton, Zachary Brody, Myron Citronbaum, Celerina Christie, Jamie DeVore, Eli Dworkin, William Emick, Bernice Galt Epstein, Francis P. Farber, Barbara Fenner, Edith Finkelman, Helen Goldberg, Bill Goodwin, Carolyn Nallowai Griffith, Sadie Hamer, Alice Hamill, Abe J. Harris, Ernest Holland, Hulda Jacobs, Sophie Cash, Edward Kaufman, Fiona Laws, Harold O. Livingstone, Paul London, Joyce Mandel, Jerome Melvin, Herbert Mendel, Helen Mendick, Ann Michaels, Gussie Michaels-Lorange, Eric Nance, Robert Oblath, Sidney A. Perlis, Howard Pokras, Bernice Porras, Giselle Proper, Sholem Elazar Reches, Greg Roth, Beatrice Roth Zimet, Norma Scott, Morley Siegel, James Shelton, Marcia Silver, Martin K. Small, Alan Stanger, Ralph Swedlow, Dan Tannenbaum, Ari Tenor, Ray Usher, Marianne Vanderwerf, Betty Vickery, Ingeborg Wald, Michael Weitzman, Bobby Wolf, and Stanley Zinn. If you have a name to share for Kaddish this evening, I invite you to share that name as my gaze meets yours. I invite those who are in mourning to please rise as we share in these words of comfort. Hamakom yenachem etchem betoch sha'ar avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We all rise to join the mourners as we turn to page 598 for Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, be'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv imru, amen. Yehi shemei rabba mevarach le'alam ulalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. You may be seated. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing. Our closing song can be found on page 647. These words come from Exodus, from this foundational story that we reflect on and recite and tell and retell at this time of year, our story of freedom. Ozi v'zimrat yah, God is my strength, God is my song. Oh, 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 that's too low. Oh, Ozi v'zimrat yah, vayehi li lishua. zimrat yam, vayehi li liyeshua. Ozi vezimrat yam, vayehi li liyeshua. Ozi vezimrat yam, vayehi li liyeshua. We will close with Kiddush and Motzi. And just because we can, we have one more chance to hear the festival Kiddush. So I invite you to turn to page 386 if you'd like to follow along. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol am, v'romemanu mikol lashon, v'kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava, Shabbatot limnucha, u'moadim lesimcha, חגים וזמנים לששון, את יום השבת הזה, ואת יום חג המצות הזה, זמן חירותנו באהבה מקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, ושבת ומועדי קודשך, באהבה וברצון, בשמחה ובששון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת וישראל, והזמנים. לחיים. And now for a small whoosh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. I invite you to join us for our oneg in the social hall.